Welcome back everyone to Journey to the West, Chapter 3, Part 3. So, after going to enormous trouble to find a suitable weapon for Sun Wukong, was the old Dragon King hoping to see the back of him? Ao Guang, the old Dragon King, humbly acknowledged his thanks, but Sun Wukong continued on. This piece of iron will be very useful, but there is one more thing I want to ask. What might that be, exalted immortal? Asked the Dragon King. If I hadn't got this cudgel, that would be the end of the matter. But as I have got it, the problem is I don't have the clothes to go with it. What are we to do about it? If you have any armour here, I'd be most obliged if you'd give me a suit. The Dragon King said he had not any. A guest should not have to trouble two hosts, said Sun Wukong. I won't leave without one. Please try some other sea, exalted immortal. You may find one there. It's better to stay in one house than to visit three. I beg and implore you to give me a suit. I really don't have one, replied the Dragon King. If I had, I would present it to you. If you really haven't, then I'll try this cudgel out on you. Don't hit me, exalted immortal. Don't hit me, pleaded the Dragon King in terror. Let me see whether my brothers have one they could give you. Where do your brothers live? Ao Qin is the Dragon King of the Southern Sea. Ao Shun is the Dragon King of the Northern Sea. And Ao Run is the Dragon King of the Western Sea. I'm damned if I'm going there. As the saying goes, a Dragon King in the hand is worth three in the bush. So be a good chap and give me one. There is no need for you to go there, lofty immortal, the Dragon King replied. I have an iron drum and a bronze bell. In an emergency, we strike them to bring my brothers here in an instant. In that case, said Sun Wukong, hurry up and sound them. And indeed, an alligator general struck the bell, while a terrapin marshal beat the drum. The sound of the bell and the drum startled the other three Dragon Kings, who, in an instant, had arrived and were waiting together outside. One of them, Ao Qin, said, Elder brother, what's up? Why the bell and the drum? It hurts me to tell you, brother, the old Dragon King replied. There's this so-called heaven-born sage from the mountain of flowers and fruit who came here this morning saying he was my neighbour, then demanded a weapon. I offered him a steel-pronged spear, but he said it was too small, and a patent halberd, but he said it was too light. Then he picked up the miraculous iron that fastens the Milky Way and tried a few movements with it. Now he's sitting in the palace and demanding a suit of armour, but we haven't got one. That's why I used the bell and the drum to call you here. You three must have some armour. Please give him a suit, then we can get rid of him. When Ao Qin heard this, he said in a fury, To arms, brothers! Arrest the criminal! No, it's out of the question, said the old Dragon King. If that iron cudgel of his gets you, you're done for. If it hits you, you die. If it comes close, your skin is broken. And if it so much as brushes against you, your sinews are smashed. Ao Run, the Dragon King of the Western Sea, said, Second brother, you must not attack him. Instead, we should put a suit of armour together for him, then send him away. We can send a memorial about it to heaven. Then heaven will, of course, punish him. You're right, said Ao Shun, the Dragon King of the Southern Sea. I have a pair of lotus root cloud-walking shoes. I've brought a suit of golden chainmail, said Ao Run, the Dragon King of the Western Sea. and I have a phoenix-winged, purple-gold helmet, added Qing, the Dragon King of the Southern Sea. The old Dragon King was very pleased, and he brought them into the palace to meet Sun Wukong and present the equipment to him. Sun Wukong put on the golden helmet and the armour and the cloud-walking shoes, then charged out, waving his cudgel and saying to the dragons, "My apologies for disturbing you." The 4 Dragon Kings were most indignant, but we will not go into their discussions on the protest they sent to heaven. Watch the Monkey King as he parts the waters and goes straight back to the iron bridge where the 4 senior apes can be seen waiting for him at the head of the monkey host. Sun Wukong suddenly leapt out of the waves without a drop of water on him and gleaming with gold. As he came across the bridge, the monkeys were so astonished that they fell to their knees and said, "How splendid you look, Your Majesty! How splendid!" Sun Wukong, his face lit up with youthful vigour, climbed up to his throne and thrust his cudgel into the ground in their midst. The foolish monkeys all tried to grab this treasure, but it was as futile as a dragonfly trying to shake an iron tree. They were unable to move it in the slightest. Biting their fingers and sticking out their tongues, they said, "Grandpa, it's so heavy. How could you possibly lift it?" Sun Wukong went over, lifted it with one hand, and laughed as he said to them, "Everything has its rightful owner. This little treasure has been lying in the sea treasury for goodness knows how many thousands of years, but it just happened to start shining this year." The Dragon King thought it was just a piece of ordinary iron and said it was the miraculous treasure that holds the bed of the Milky Way in place. None of his men could move it, so he had to ask me to go and fetch it myself. It was more than 50 feet long then and as thick as a barrel. When I picked it up, I felt that it was too big, and it shrank till it was several times as small. I told it to get even smaller, and it did that too. Then I told it to get smaller still, and it got many times smaller again. I hurried out into the light of day to look at it, and I saw that there was an inscription on it that read, "Obedient Golden-Banded Cudgel, weight 13,500 pounds. Stand aside and I'll make it change again." Holding his treasure in his hand, he said, "Shrink, shrink, shrink," and it became as small as an embroidery needle, tiny enough to be hidden in his ear. "Your Majesty," the monkeys cried out in astonishment, "bring it out again and play with it again." So the Monkey King brought it out of his ear again, laid it on the palm of his hand and said, "Grow, grow, grow." It immediately became 2 feet thick again and 20 feet long. Now that he was really enjoying himself, he bounded over the bridge and went out of the cave. Clasping his treasure, he used some of his heaven and earth magic, bowed and shouted, "Grow!" He became 100,000 feet tall. His head was as big as a mountain, his waist like a range of hills. His eyes flashed like lightning, and his teeth were as swords and halberd. The cudgel in his hands reached up to the 33rd heaven and down to the 18th hell. The tigers, leopards and wolves, the beasts of the mountain, and the 72 demon kings all kowtowed and bowed in terror. trembling so much that they nearly went out of their minds. A moment later, he reverted to his proper size, turned his treasure back into an embroidery needle, hiding it in his ear, and went back to the cave. The panic-stricken kings of the monsters all came to offer their congratulations. There was a great display of banners and drums, and the air resounded to the sound of gongs and bells. Rare delicacies were set out in great quantities, cups brimmed with coconut toddy and the wine of the grape, and the Monkey King feasted and drank with his people for a long time. Then training went on as before. The Monkey King named the 4 senior apes as his 4 stalwart generals. He named the 2 bare-bottomed apes Marshal Ma and Marshal Liu, and he called the 2 gibbons General Beng and General Ba. He entrusted the stockades, questions of discipline and rewards to these 4. Thus, freed from cares, he mounted the clouds and rode the mists, wandering round the 4 seas and enjoying the 1,000 mountains. He practised his martial arts, visited many a hero, used his magical powers, and made a wide and distinguished circle of friends. He met with 6 sworn brothers: the Bull Demon King, the Salamander Demon King, the Rock Demon King, the Camel King, the Macaque King, and the Lion King. With him included, they made 7. For days on end, they talked about politics and war, passed round the goblet, strummed, sang, piped, danced, went off on days out together, and enjoyed themselves in every possible way. A journey of thousands of miles seemed to them to be no more than a walk in the courtyard. It could be said that they travelled 1,000 miles in the time it takes to nod one's head, and covered 300 with a twist of the waist. One day, he instructed his 4 stalwart generals to arrange a feast for the 6 other kings. Sacrifices were made to heaven and earth, and the assembled monsters danced, sang, and drank themselves silly. When he had seen the 6 kings out and tipped his senior and junior officials, Sun Wukong lay himself down under the shade of the pines beside the bridge and was asleep in an instant. The 4 stalwart generals made the others stand round and guard him, and they all kept their voices down. In his sleep, the handsome Monkey King saw 2 men approach him with a piece of paper in their hands, on which was written Sun Wukong. Without any explanations, they tied him up and dragged him staggering along till they reached the city wall. The Monkey King, who was gradually recovering from his drunken stupor, looked up and saw an iron plate on the wall on which was inscribed "World of Darkness" in large letters. In a flash of realization, he said, "The world of darkness is where King Yama lives. Why have I come here?" "Your life in the world above is due to end now," the escort said, "and we were ordered to fetch you." To this, the Monkey King replied, "We pause here and wonder, could there be any element of reality in Monkey King's dream? Join us for the next instalment to find out. Goodbye.